Hi everyone, we are spending a long weekend in Berlin this time. We've actually both been here before, but for me it's been a while and I absolutely loved my first visit here. Berlin is all about creativity, history, music and of course great food, so I can't wait to show you around. The plane arrived pretty late, so it's around 12 o'clock now. Also, spoiler alert, we won't be returning by plane, but we'll be taking the night train back to the Netherlands. So stay tuned because they'll be up at the end of this vlog. Anyway, we arrived at the hostel. Look at this really cool space theme. We booked a 2-person space capsule here. I do hope I'm not gonna be claustrophobic about this. So for now, I'm signing off. Good night, and we'll explore Berlin together tomorrow. Good morning. It's already around lunchtime, so we're going to head out to our first spot of the journey, a food market. While the food market in this shopping center was a bit disappointing, the shop next to it had this really great chocolate and strawberry dish. It's about time we're going to visit our first highlight of our trip, the Altes Museum. We love ancient history, myths and legends, so this museum was right up our alley. We would have loved to go to the Pergamon Museum, but it is unfortunately closed. I went there last time and it's one of Berlin's best museums, so if you're ever around, put it on your list. Berlin has, of course, much more of its own history to learn from. We stopped at Checkpoint Charlie, which was the border control between the West and the East from 1961 until a year after the wall fell in 1990. From there, we walked to the Holocaust Memorial, which is a huge and impressive structure. This artwork always leaves a big impression on me and makes me think about my grandparents during the war and how blessed we are. This memorial contains 2,711 concrete slabs, ordered in a grid, and is a memorial to all the Jewish victims of the Holocaust. It was meant to have 4,000 concrete slabs, but it wouldn't legally fit in the area, so they cut it down to the number it is now. Below the structure is a museum, which holds about 3 million names of victims of the Holocaust. Night is starting to fall, so it's time to get into the luxury of a nice restaurant. This restaurant serves typical German food with a big beer. We'll put the place in the description below because it's definitely worth a visit. Good morning. We're now at the Jewish Museum, which is built with concrete as well and has a kind of the same concrete slabs in the museum garden as we saw yesterday at the Holocaust Monument. I've heard a lot about this museum, so it's time to learn more about the history of the Second World War. This museum is especially impressive thanks to the brilliant architecture. The feeling of an endless war and unstable life gets through to you due to the sloping floor and endless walls. Even this ladder that goes to nowhere is unreachable from the bottom. It's time to head out for lunch, so we took the U-Bahn to Brandenburger Tor to get to Markthalle Neun. This is a more authentic food hall, which dates back to 1891, when Berlin was in need of market halls for a quickly growing city. They built a total of 14 separate market halls throughout the city, but not many are left. And Markthalle Neun is the one who went back to its roots, making it one of the best places for foodies to visit in Berlin. Make sure to try out Big Stuff, which is absolutely amazing with meat dishes. We also tried out pasta at an Italian stand and some fries somewhere else, which were fantastic as well. Everything here is so good, so you should put this place on top of your list for your next visit. Next up is a visit to the East Side Gallery, where you can see the remains of the Berlin Wall. The best way to get there? Cross the Oberbraunbrücke, a beautiful red bridge built in 1894. We have one last stop before the end of this trip, and this was definitely a highlight. We took a tour to the Berliner Unterwelt, the escape tunnels during the time of the Berlin Wall. We had a brilliant guide who taught us so much and told such unbelievable stories of the people who could escape to the other side of the wall thanks to these tunnels, so they could be reunited with their families. They had to be super quiet during the digging of these tunnels and had to find a way to remove dirt at their end without anyone finding out. Sometimes a tunnel even flooded due to hitting a pipeline and all work would have been for nothing. So to dig these tunnels was extremely dangerous and took a lot of work. At the end, more than 70 tunnels were started, but only 19 were successful. We highly recommend this tour, but be sure to book it well ahead of time because tickets get sold out weeks beforehand. For now, it's time for a last snack before our train ride back to the Netherlands. How's the currywurst, Joost? Of course we had to try out at least one currywurst before leaving Germany. This one was crispy and delicious. I'll put the link in the description below on where you can find this nice currywurst. For now, it's time to say goodbye to Berlin and head out for another adventure, the sleeper train from Berlin to Roosendaal. The train leaves about 20 minutes later, but it's just 20 minutes, so it should be fine. So we're gonna look at where our coach is now. The coaches are pretty old, but have everything you need. We even got some water bottles. Also, we were pretty lucky to get the bottom beds, because there's no way I could climb up to the top one. I'm not that tall. It even used to be a 6-person coach, but nowadays it's only rented out to 4 persons luckily. Now let's do a quick tour of the train before everyone heads to bed. The bathroom is at the end of the coach. Everything looks pretty nice and surprisingly clean. There's also a separate area where you can wash up, which is pretty nice. As we're leaving Berlin behind, it's time to head to bed. Good night! Good morning, it's 6 o'clock and they just announced the train stop at Rotterdam Central Station. I think I've only slept for about 5 or 6 hours because at the beginning I was pretty excited about sleeping in the train and then I just couldn't sleep because of the moving constantly. But well, 5 to 6 hours is fine. I'll be okay today. We'll give a quick walkthrough through the train right now, so you can properly see what it looks like during the daylight. It's basically all sleeping coaches and 2 small toilets and washrooms at the end of each carriage. It's time to say goodbye to the night train. Thanks again for watching and let us know what your favorite place in Berlin is, so we can visit that next time.
And now the fun part starts. We still have to work today.